Hi there. So in this short tutorial, I'm just going to show you how to do some editing right before you do your multiplication of mandala slices to make the complete mandala. Okay, so this is some editing that everyone's going to have to do. It will probably take you about 30 minutes, okay? But at this point, you should be done with your slice. Okay, so your slice should be pretty much done, and the last thing that you're going to do is just editing. Okay, this makes everything easier. My slice, this example right here, this is the one that I was working on. Something like shifted, so it's really messy. I'm going to have to spend time fixing this all up really nicely before I actually multiply it. But what I want to show you here is at this point, what we want to do is we want to get rid of the gray lines on the left side of the mandala and on the right side of the mandala. And this is so when we put it all together, we don't have these distracting lines that divide up the mandala, okay? And this is an issue that came up in semester 1, so I'm trying to make sure that you guys do the proper editing this time and make it easier for yourself, because some people spend a lot of time editing and they had so much more because they had the full mandala at this point. So now we're going to be, preemptive about it and do it beforehand. So this is what you're going to do. Many of you I know have lots of gradients, which is wonderful. I'm sure your mandala looks great with all those gradients. But in order to correct a gradient line, you do need to get to know a tool called the clone stamp tool. So here's an area on the edge of my mandala where I can see that gray line. It looks pretty bad. Okay, I don't really want it there. I want this shape to blend in with the shape on the left side, and that's not going to happen well unless I get rid of this. So what I'm going to do is get to the clone stamp tool. Okay, it's right there. And the cool thing about the clone stamp tool, it's kind of taking a picture of what's next to that area. So you have control of where you take your picture. So the way you take your picture is you press Option, and then you see that little camera show up. Well, it's not a camera, but sort of I guess a compass or something. And then you click it, okay, and it takes a picture. And now where you see that X, that's where it is taking the color from, okay? So this is awesome for an area that has a gradient, and you're like, uh-oh, how do I fill in a section that has a gradient? That's going to be way too hard with the paint bucket tool. So this is the easiest way to do it. Notice my brush for the clone stamp tool is quite big, okay? And notice that I'm not being like perfect about my edge. Please don't worry too much about that. When we put the whole mandala together, you will overlap some of your edges. So, try your best, but, if you have little bumps like this on my screen, don't worry too much about it. Okay, now as you notice, check out what happens as I get higher. Okay, it begins to get confused and go into the next shape. So what I'm going to do is go into the brush tool and fix it up. So with the brush tool, ooh, better get that same brown. So now I can go in and select. Now you might be able to actually click on Magic Wand and fill some of your lines, like the outside outlines of shapes, then just fill it in with one bold color. Okay, and I'll show you how to do that. So I just showed you how to use the clone stamp tool. So that looks a lot better, and when I put this shape together with this shape, it should blend really nicely. It may not blend perfectly, but it should blend pretty well. It's better than having a gray line. So how to fill your lines? Pretty much you want to get to the Magic Wand tool, the same thing that we've been doing. Okay, and it's selecting all of that. Now, notice that it selects all of this, and I don't want it to select that. I just want it to select that shape, this abstract triangular shape. So I'm going to two-finger click on top of Magic Wand, go to Quick Selection, make sure the minus is selected up here, and change the size, okay? And because mine was really big, and just basically make sure that it doesn't select any of that anymore. Okay, so you can switch back and forth. Yeah, so it's selecting everything I want. I'm going to go to the paint bucket tool and just basically fill it in, and it should just fill right in. Great. That's fabulous. Command D to deselect, and there, I fixed my shape a lot more. I could definitely go back in here with my brush and just make it look a little bit nicer. Okay, so at this point, I just want to say again, use the clone stamp tool right here. You're going to use the eyedropper tool maybe, and the brush tool to fix up the lines on the left side of your slice and the right side of your slice. And when you're done with that and you're done editing most of the big things in your shape, then I guess you are ready to multiply your slice to make your mandala. Okay, thank you.